Before we begin, please be advised that this episode contains discussions of sensitive and potentially distressing topics, including abuse, domestic violence, suicidal ideation, and other traumatic experiences. We strongly encourage listener and viewer discretion. If you or someone you know is affected by any of the issues discussed, please seek support from a licensed mental health professional or reach out to a support organization in your area. Your well-being matters.
And I just hope that somebody needs to hear something like this, and that somebody can relate to this, and know that there is hope. There is hope, and even if it's in the darkest time of your life that you're going through, something good is coming. Just don't give up. Just don't give up. You check on me tomorrow, and it might be a different story, but after what I went through, and to be able to see the light after the tunnel, I have made a promise to myself that no matter what kind of curve or turn my life takes, I will keep holding to my faith the tighter I can, as tight as I can, because I know there will be a light of the tunnel. Now it might take me a year, it might take me 10, it might take to recover from the heat. You never know, because as you said earlier, it doesn't have a timeline. Oh my goodness, I am so thankful that you touched on that point, because I am from Mexico, and violence in Mexico is like top notch.
Yeah.
And I remember, you remember, what was your impression when you came to Canada? We were in a house, and I was like, where is the protection? Like the windows.
You're saying, where's the burglar guards? Where's the why? Yeah, why is the door locks?
Like, people is just gonna walk in that window and rob me or kidnap me. I can't say, like, I feel like somebody's gonna come think I'm rich because I'm in Canada. I'm rich because that is something else that people think, because you're in another country, all of a sudden you become a millionaire. I can't say enough how grateful I am of being on a country that allows me to go to bed and have a good rest without thinking somebody's gonna come in and steal my kids or kidnap them or hurt me or my family. I look exactly today at young Sofia, 17-year-old Sofia, and I told her with all my love and compassion, hold on in there. Just hold on in there. Because I promise you, you got to go through this in order to grow, in order to bloom, in order to learn, and to become the person that you're meant to be.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Zen and Now. Today we sit with Sofia Lopez, a mom born in Mexico and now in Canada, whose story is one of survival, strength, and deep healing. Sofia lived through sexual, physical, and emotional abuse. She faced addiction at just 14, and she questioned if life was worth living, but she chose to rise. This conversation is raw, real, and a reminder that even in our darkest moments, there's a way forward. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Kishan, for having me. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you for accepting my invitation to be and to share your story with us today.
My honor. Thank you.
So, Sofia, tell us, how was it like growing up in Mexico?
It was a pretty, I didn't have a choice to begin with, and it is completely different culture, different believings, different everything. So I grew up in a really low income home. I grew up with my mother only. My parents split when I was about 3, 4 years old. So it was always my mom and I, and my mom had to go to work most of her life to survive and provide for me and for us. So yeah, it was challenging. It's like a whole different world for sure.
Yeah. Do you miss Mexico now that you're in Canada?
That's a really good question. I do miss Mexico. Mexico is such a beautiful, cultural rich country, and we have so much to offer, so many views, so much to offer. Unfortunately, the situation there right now isn't the greatest. So I do miss Mexico, but I don't think Mexico misses me.
Oh,
So
no. It does. It does. I'm sure it does.
it does, it does. But I think that after living for 25 years in such a hot country,
Mm,
I kind of appreciate not being there anymore. Even I was there last year around this time, and it was a challenge. Like
right.
I truly appreciated Canada weather, if that makes sense. So I do miss Mexico because Mexico saw me grow. Mexico made me who I am,
Hmm.
and it's a big part of me. But Canada has become my home. So I hold a very special place in my heart for Mexico, but this is my present and this is my home and this is my life. So
Yeah.
I'm really grateful to be here in Canada.
Yeah. I think we have a similar story. I'm from South Africa, born and raised all my life. And like you said, Canada now is home for us. It's where we established where we want to be, but it will always have a special place in our heart,
Yeah,
even
of
though
course.
there's so much going on in South Africa with politics and those kind of things that kind of question whether it's going to be the best place for you to fulfill your purpose. And I feel similar to what Mexico is. It'll always have a place in your heart because it's where you were born. It's not
Yeah,
something that you were just brought over and it was like you say, your second home or something that wasn't yours. It's yours.
yeah,
A lot of people ask us, "Where are you from?" Because they see the brown skin, they think we're from India. And when we mention South Africa, they kind of, oh, really?
yeah,
Yeah, I still can't understand how they cannot know that there's so many brown people in South Africa or in Africa on a whole. And I always say I'm South African. I don't say I'm Indian. I'm South African first.
yeah. Yeah, no, of course. And, I think there is a lot of assumption
Mm,
when it comes to, looking at our skin color and just assuming that because you're a certain color, you got certain features.
mhm.
And we live in such a time in life where we're all combined, we're all over
Yeah,
the place. Like, so for that reason, it's been a while now since I stopped assuming.
mhm.
I am more comfortable just asking if I have any question because it's not comfortable for everyone, right?
Yes,
So it's important to take in consideration that um, the skin color or the accent or whatever the case may be doesn't define you as a person or your background or whatever. So it's
yeah,
really important to always take the time
yeah,
to ask, to
yeah.
clarify.
It's your values that come across that matters.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
I think a lot of the healing journey, part of that journey is to perspectively understand that when you kind of assume you're judging without
yeah.
knowing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
and I guess that part of my career and my training too is that part, right? That
Hmm.
I'm after learning to see people beyond skin color,
Yes.
beyond culture, beyond everything else, but to see them as a whole. And so it's something that I'm after really taking to heart
Mm.
because, coming myself from another country and people looking weird at me at the beginning and this and that. Oh, I was also laugh at myself on my face once because of my accent. So I completely understand what is it like to come from another country and try to fit in a new
Yes, yes,
society is
yes.
challenging. So yeah,
Yeah. No, it is very difficult because we don't know the cultural ways, but we learn to adapt, and I think that's what makes you succeed because you learn quickly to adapt, not and you still keep your core values with you, and you just then translate that and you assimilate much quicker. And I think a lot of my friends or a lot of people who have tried the journeys that we have kind of didn't work out because I think they were still a bit holding on to their old ways of living, and they couldn't let go of that. I think that's where you need to be really brave and cut all of those kind of what you knew, what was working for you back home, that is not necessarily going to be the same for you on the other side. But long story short, you have to be very flexible, and it's not easy.
Yes, absolutely. It's resilience, right? Which is it's a new term for me, but and it's so hard sometimes too for people who we leave behind
Mm.
and that they don't truly understand because once again they don't live in our shoes.
Yes.
So a lot of people is judgmental, like as an example in my personal experience, that my children don't speak Spanish and my whole
Mm.
background and my whole family only speaks Spanish and they're like, how come you don't teach them Spanish? How come they
Yes.
don't? And just judging because why are you not teaching them? Well, because for once I'm not a teacher, I
Mhm.
don't know how to teach Spanish.
Yes.
I was just taught. So it's really hard, right? So it is sometimes challenging to like to let go of that
Mm.
on the back of like these people saying like this is why are you behaving like this? Oh, now she only speaks English because now she lives in Canada. So,
Yes.
so
Yes.
it's a
Yes.
lot. It's a lot. It is a lot more than people will believe and that people understand. But
Yes. Yes.
it comes
Is
in the package.
for sure. For sure. Is it difficult for you to block that noise out?
It was at the beginning, of course. Uh, but I've learned to make Canada and my family my new family. As much as I love my background, as much as I'm honored to be Mexican, I came to a point in life where I know that in order to keep moving, I need to let go of those voices of them people that will always be looking for something to talk about,
Yes. Yes.
right? And it's just a whole, it almost feels like something is holding you back. If
Yes.
I listen to what everybody needs to say or wants to say about me, especially from back home, which I am coming from a community this big,
Yes. Yes.
I won't be here. I just won't be here.
Yeah.
So it's not, it doesn't serve me.
Mhm.
Those voices don't serve me. So I listen to what serves me and what is not good to me, I have to let go. And it's not easy. It's not always easy. But when you constantly do it and when you come to find yourself truly, it just comes naturally,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. Good on you for doing that and standing in your own power, because it's just only it's your life. End of the day,
Yeah.
you have to be
Absolutely.
happy. It's not nobody else's life. You walking your own path, and then it's that's why you have to always be very mindful of standing in your own power. So coming towards that is, what were the circumstances for you to leave Mexico to come to Canada?
This is an interesting question because I came to Canada because I was working down south in Mexico. I am from the center of Mexico by the Gulf of Mexico, and
Right, right.
then economy was really bad. I didn't fail, but I just realized that business wasn't for me. I did 2.5 years of business in university, and I just realized that it wasn't for me.
Mhm.
So as a way of punishing myself, because to me failure was in my mind that was unacceptable, I punished myself by searching for my independence.
Okay.
So I leave home. After I left university, I left my home and I moved down south in Mexico to the Mayan Riviera and whatever. All those places, those famous places that everybody knows. So through my job, 4 or 5 years in the industry of tourism and receiving people and
Hmm.
interacting with people, I met a person. And this person, and it's funny because, like I'm divorced now from this person. But at some point, they kind of meant to say that I used them to come to Canada, and I
Oh.
remember in that time, it kind of makes sense.
Mhm.
Like in that moment, it
Yeah, yeah.
completely makes sense for them to think that. But I do remember myself, like I'm thankful and grateful to say that I had so many connections. I met so many people all around the world. And trust me, the last place I wanted to land in was in Canada. Like coming from such a, like, if I
Warm
would have
country.
chosen, I'd be in Europe somewhere, like Spain or Portugal, Italy, somewhere like that. I never chose Canada. Canada chose me. That's what I always say. And so that's how I ended in Canada. I met a person and then I moved here to start a life when I was actually 6 months pregnant with my first child.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. How did what were your first impressions when you landed, when you got here?
Ah, it was mind blowing. I remember it was a night time and I landed in Ontario
Yeah.
and it was the first time I left Mexico. Like it's very hard for Mexican people to travel to different countries.
Mm.
And I was 25 years old. I remember just looking at all the lights of Toronto and just being like, wow, like this was like something I never dreamed of. I
Mhm.
never dreamed leaving my country. I never dreamed with the day. I never even, like, if you would have told me 20 years ago, you're gonna go here and you're gonna end in another country and becoming a completely different person, like, I was like, you joking me. Like,
Yeah.
no, because like I'm true to my roots. I am proudly Mexican and I never had the intention to leave my home, if
Okay.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, similar. Canada chose us. We didn't choose Canada. Canada chose us. That's what makes sense to most.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, lovely. It's such a beautiful journey that we all go on especially as immigrants. A lot of people don't understand the hardships, the trials, the tears, the days where you feel as if though did I make the right decision? But
Yes.
there's something within you that just keeps going and going and going. And you find, for myself, honestly, I felt like I was meant to be here as soon as I landed. So it didn't take me very long to assimilate or to settle. My wife, though, did take a little time because she kind of had a little bit of doubts whether she wants to be here or not. But now, after getting citizenship and working through all of that, now it feels like home for her. But for me, it's a different story. Hence why we all go through our own journeys, especially when it comes to healing. There's no time frame. There's no set time where you're going to say, okay, by this day, I'm going to feel better. That doesn't work that way. And we all need to understand that we have to be patient in our journeys. We have to understand that we have to be calm and be kind to ourselves. And when those days are very tough, and similar to your journey, you probably had a lot of those days as well.
Yeah, you bet. Yes, I did. I think that the hardest part is when someone goes through something, a dark time, what I call a dark time, is to hold the hope, or when you are in such a low state in your life, it just takes a lot. It takes
Mm.
a lot to keep going, even when you are not able to see the light, because it happens. It happens. When I was 15 years old, I was in a situation in my life where I wasn't able to see that light.
Mm.
I was not able to see that light. And though that's the moment where I had suicidal thoughts of like the world would be a better place without me. Like,
Yes.
what am I doing here? I don't have people to care for me. Like, and don't get me wrong, now that I look back, I understand that those thoughts were normal in a way, but it is hard to, as a 15-year-old, as a young woman, to hold to the hope or to know what is at the end of the tunnel. And even to have the idea, like, is it worth it? Like, what is this all about? Like, you're trying to figure so many things out at once. You're
Exactly. Yeah.
changing, you're growing, you're learning, and it's so much. It gets overwhelming. And if on top of that you add the darkness, it's like, okay, it can get to a point that if you don't catch a person,
Yeah.
they
It's
will
done.
just sink,
Yeah.
sink and be surrounded by darkness.
Mhm.
So,
Who
yeah.
caught you?
Who coached me?
No, who caught you before the darkness took over?
Who what? Sorry?
You said you mentioned if somebody doesn't catch you before the darkness takes over. Someone like who was that someone or something that caught you not to go through with it?
You know what? I appreciate that question because no one had ever asked that question. There was no one. There was absolutely no one for me. And I think that is why I got, my mother was diagnosed with paranoia when I was 17 years old. So we went through a year of really, really hard time. And that was when everything piled up on me. And it got to a point, my mom attempted suicide too. And I think it was in that point, at that moment, where I realized that I needed to do something
Yeah.
because I couldn't do it anymore. I could not do it anymore. And in Mexico back there, we're talking about, wow, like 22 years ago. Uh, there was no such thing like psychologists. There was not
No.
such thing as counselors. And if they were like out of my league, right? So I don't know. I honestly can't recall who was the person or how this book made it to my hands.
Mm.
But I remember grabbing this book, and I wish I remembered in this at this time. I remember having this book, and it was like it's called a this. I know the title
Title.
in Spanish. I don't know if it would make sense in English, but it's called like a desperate scream,
It's okay.
and
Say
it's
it in
by
Spanish. Maybe.
uh, okay. It's called Un Grito Desesperado, and it's by Paulo Coelho. Um, I don't know if it's by Paulo Coelho, Carlos Cuauhtemoc Sanchez, one or the other. I'm sorry, it's been a long time. But anyways, it was this. The book was about it's a desperate scream for help.
Mm.
Right, that's the message that book gave me, and that book landed in my hands. And a 15-year-old to grab a book, it
Yeah.
kind of like no, there is not
Not
many
weird.
15 years old reading
Yeah.
books. But for some reason, this book made it to my hands.
Mhm.
And I read it. And when I read that book, I got so hooked into it. And I realized that, okay, there is something in this book, self help books, that are leaving me something. And I just hold myself to that. And then after that was another one. And then after that book was another one. And I wanted to read every single book about this author because he touched me so much.
Yes.
But it was the books. It was the books, and it was the situation that I was living with my mom, and just having these thoughts and being so lonely, so desperate for just having that compassion, that connection, somebody to hold
Well,
me,
yes.
somebody to hold me in those
Yeah.
moments.
I mean, you're still a child. It's
Yeah.
17 years old. It's 15, 17. It's still babies. We're still
Yes.
babies at that point in it. How do you navigate such, mature experiences? Because it's not easy if you don't have the help. And like you said, 20 years ago, I can understand. Even the thought of going to therapy was kind of a stigma,
Yeah. And
especially
it
in.
keeps, and it still is. Sorry, I
Mm,
interrupted you.
no, that's fine. But like you said, it still is. That's why these kind of conversations are important, to know that we can speak about those experiences openly and honestly, but only uh, to a point where you're comfortable sharing how much it has impacted you, because some cuts still hurt.
Yes.
They're still
Yes.
very fresh, and you're still working through those wounds, slowly at your own pace. So I
Of
guess
course.
also, but I think a lot of people want to get better quickly and heal everything at one point, but it doesn't work that way. And that's why sometimes you get to that dark place again, but now this time you understand, okay, I need to catch myself. And you have the tools now to help you along.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that when you discover a little bit more about yourself
Mm.
and you bring yourself awareness, and it takes a lot because I mean I'm 37 years old, and I am just, I have been, this is a work progress, a process since I am 15 years old, and I never had the therapy, and I never got to heal those wounds. So when I finally, a year ago actually, that I started my career, and I actually answered to my call that I had 20 years ago. And I then finally started like doing the work and like putting, and it is, whew, like,
Yeah.
what a ride. Like when you really get to connect with those wounds, when you truly take the time to look at every single, like I call them the scars in our heart, right? Like those are the scars in our heart that they're made there. And just like everything, every other scar in our body,
Exactly.
like
Yes.
when you see them, you know they're there. And
There's a
when you
memory.
see them, there is a memory. Absolutely. And with no matter what, like even like sometimes you might be in the mirror and then you look at the scar and you're like, oh, wait a second, and the memory is there. Same
Yes.
happens with the scars in the heart. And through therapy, you are kind of like challenged. I'm not gonna say push because it's a work for yourself. It's a work
Yes.
that you gotta do on your own.
Yeah.
But you're challenged to really sit and pay attention and look and like face them. And not everybody's ready for that. So that takes a lot of courage, a lot of work, a lot of patience, a lot of compassion, and a lot of empathy for oneself.
Yes. No, I agree with you there. And compassion is the key word there. Compassion. You have to have compassion for yourself, for your environment, because it's going to challenge you all the time. There's going to be triggers everywhere. You can't you can't dispose of them. You can't let them go away. They're not going to go away anytime soon. They're just going to be in your face. It's like a mirror, it's going to be held to your face so that you can face those demons head on. And sometimes you want to look away, but you can't. It's just going to keep coming after you till you finally accept, okay, this is who I am. And that's when the mirror breaks. And then now all of a sudden you can start to then put those pieces back together. But you have to break that mirror for you to, those pieces have to shatter for you
Yeah.
to then start putting yourself back together again. And
Yeah.
how did those experiences shape your view with love and trust for yourself?
Um, I still struggle trusting others. Like after being sexually abused, physically abused, I still struggle trusting others. I am currently engaged, and yet I still sometimes I am aware that I have certain um, attachments, and they are based on my past and my childhood and everything else. And so when even recently I had a situation with my personal story, like I had a situation with my partner where we're so connected, and recently we had to like 3 days. It was 3 days. And as you said, like the triggers will always come, right? And then so in those 3 days that I had to separate from him, that I wasn't even separate. It was just a conference he had to attend because it will help develop his business
Right.
and this and that. And just that separation for me, it was like a dark moment, a trigger, like I'm being abandoned.
Right.
He doesn't love me. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of love. I'm not this, I'm not that. All the negativity that you can imagine. And then that puts me in a place. And what, but when you are able to recognize, and after I am grown enough to sit down and have a conversation and simply express like
Yes.
what is happening with me right now is not because I don't trust you. It's because what I have been through,
Yeah.
and that takes a lot. And especially I am like that. I usually just shut down. I
Mm.
usually just
Mm.
and my face says it all. My face got the subtitles. But that's when you see the growth, that I was able to sit down and say like, this is what's happening. This is what I'm feeling, but it's not because of the situation. And this is so important for everybody to understand, that a
Yes.
trigger is not a reaction to the certain situation. It's the reaction to the trauma, to whatever situation happened in your past that made your body feel that way. The
Yes.
abandonment, the emotional disconnection, the everything, whatever it brings to you. And so that is so important to understand for other people, because not everybody knows that. And
Yes.
I think that is something that people should know about.
Yeah. Is it not just we don't have those honest conversations. We don't want to express how we feel because we feel like we're going to hurt the other person's feelings. I'm similar like that. I don't want to, sometimes I don't feel I want to express how I feel because I don't want to hurt the other person's feelings. But that's nothing to do with them. It's got something to do with me. And I also, when they need to express how they feel, it's not I had to understand it's not an attack on me. It's just that how they were feeling at that time. And sometimes it's not about reacting. It's just about listening. We don't have to fix everything that comes out from our partner. We're not there to fix them. It's just that they're expressing how they feel openly and honestly. And recently, we've been having a lot of relationships that have broken down because of that. Because we show honesty, and some people don't like honesty because it hurts.
Yes.
Unfortunately, and that's sometimes we question, are we too harsh? Maybe we said something wrong, maybe however, but then you kind of realize, no, when the truth was in front of me, I had to face it head on, accept it and work through it. And there's no judgment. I don't retaliate. I'm not going to feel bad, but it's something that you've noticed in me that I didn't notice in myself. And the growth is then and going back and sitting with that and learning from that.
Yeah, absolutely. What a powerful statement that is, you know, like sitting with that and learning from that, and also just recognizing that not everybody is willing to take positive feedback. And that is a big issue in the world, that not everyone is comfortable getting feedback. And usually majority of people, including myself, because I was one of those people
Yes.
as well, that will take it as a criticism.
Yes.
Criticism, right? Instead of saying like, okay, you know what, like now I understand that, and I tell this to my partner too, because this in a relationship is super important too.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
I think that I think that the way that we deliver the message is super important too. Like one thing is to say like, "Hey, you're doing this, and I don't like it.
And it
You
just goes
piss me
back and
off."
forth.
Exactly, right? But instead, there is something that is called non-violent communication, and you probably are familiar with that.
Yes.
And which is like, you know, like we have a need, and when our needs are not being met, how can we communicate in an effective way, right? And that is crucial for a relationship to grow and keep like, and also for the message to be delivered in a proper way.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so I think that if when you learn to surround yourself of people that are in the same page as you, and that, you know, like, okay, if I'm telling you and I'm being honest with you, it comes from a place of love. It comes from a place of wanting to be with you, of want you to grow, of now it's your choice. Either you take it or no, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
This is what I feel the need to tell you, right? And I think that is, I mean, like for me to give feedback or to receive feedback is an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to make myself better at. But once again, not everybody is comfortable with getting it, and also with giving it.
Yes.
If
Yes.
that makes sense.
Yes.
So it is a little bit tricky, but when you find your tribe, when you find your group, and you know what, I think that the fact that you are able to say like, I had to face it, I have to be truthful to myself, because realistically you were truthful to yourself. You went and told whatever person or whatever people what you felt, because that's who you are. Your honesty is like your presentation card.
Exactly.
Right? Like that,
Yeah.
that's a core value, and whoever doesn't appreciate that honesty, I don't think you're the one with the problem here. Right?
Okay, for listeners or viewers who don't know, this is a finding moment. I actually met or got to know Sofia through TikTok. We didn't know each other from anywhere. I think it was one of my posts that you saw, and I saw that you interacted with it. And like you said, when you find your tribe, you have that energy feeling that this is somebody that's good for you. Hence, that's how we connected. And I invited her to be on the podcast to share her story, which is she's also on her journey of healing and sharing positivity. And yeah, long story short, here we are.
Yes, yes. That's amazing, isn't it? Like that, I think that's the most beautiful thing about social media. And thanks to COVID as well, that because of we get so negativity and so many bad things that happen after COVID, but we have so many positive things as well, like being able to work from home, like, and even able to connect with others. Like we can connect with others all around the world through TikTok, and like I find that fascinating.
Right. I actually didn't want to start. I didn't want to have a TikTok account because of all the regulations and all the privacy issues. I had a TikTok account before, but I deleted it. And then somebody mentioned to me like maybe your reach will be you get more reach with your content with TikTok, and I'm like, okay, let's start. And the rest is history.
Yeah, but you would never know unless you try.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, and I think that this is the kind of content that we need. This is the kind of, especially with everything that is going around the world, like a little bit of kindness is free, and you never know what another person is going through. And this is something that I share with my kid, especially with my oldest, which I'm a little bit more open with her now. And so, like, I remember, like, me, even as a child, seeing a grumpy person, like, you sense when somebody's just not having a good day, right? And just giving them a smile. And I was a kid. I didn't even do it. I didn't even do it out of bothered, or it was just pure empathy. Like, like it to smile. And until this day, I do it.
Yeah,
I
pure
do it
kindness.
because, yes, absolutely. Because, sometimes I didn't get a good response. The grumpy face, and I'm okay with that. I did my part as a human.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So I'm still serving one way or another. So.
I mean, think about our TikTok was actually meeting people physically. There was no online space.
Exactly. Yeah. Imagine we would.
Yeah, that was our social media.
Yeah. And I find interesting there is a video there that says that there is nothing that will support you as much as these people on TikTok that you have never met in your life. But yes, I go through TikTok sometimes, and don't get me wrong, I don't truly have time to be scrolling and watching everybody's. I'm a mother of three. I'm a busy person. But I do, when I see your post, or like other people that interact in my post too, and I notice and I realize that they are here to grow, to support, to lean on each other. Like, that's my people. That's the people I want to be with. That's the people I need in my life. Not the people that will, like, bring you down, the people that will lift your spirit.
Up. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Bring you smile, bring you, like, the days that you feel the words, hey, I got you, brother. Like, like,
yeah, it's such a powerful thing. Exactly. Just that, I got you, or just I hear you, makes such a difference, because you're not alone. And hence why that slogan, I feel alone, is so powerful, because you know that you're not alone, but you feel alone. When we're going through those dark moments, you feel like I'm the only one going through this right now, and the world will. I also had suicidal ideations back in, actually, it was like 6 months actually before we came to Canada. Wow. So, my marriage wasn't in a very good place. I made a lot of mistakes. I stepped out of bounds because I was just searching for love. Searching for affection. I felt like I wasn't getting it, but I was looking for it in the wrong places, and I made a lot of mistakes. But I look back on that journey now, and it was a learning experience for me. Yes. That I didn't need to go searching for it. It was always within me, and and from my wife. It was always there. It's just maybe, like how you say, how we verbalize it sometimes comes across as too harsh, and then we like soft love, we like it. Somebody to say, yes, you're doing well, brother, keep going. Not too harshly, but when it comes out as an outburst, we kind of internalize and we go in.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break.
Before we continue with today's episode, if you're enjoying it, if I could ask you for a small favor, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It will not only help the channel grow, but it will also allow me to bring you a lot more guests and a lot more experiences. Thank you. Back to the show.
Yeah.
But that's the mirror I'm talking about. But that's what you have to face.
Yes. Yeah. And just it's simply to realize that, like that searching for love part, that is probably something that you didn't, not, once again, I don't like assuming, but it's something that maybe you didn't grow up with, right? So it's a way to, we search for love. We are all in need of love. That's
Exactly.
a human nature, right? And if you didn't receive it, or if you didn't get it, if you didn't hear as much as often when you were growing up, and even in your actual relationship, like that is going to be an impact because it is engraved in you.
Yes.
Right. And what an amazing story of yours to say, like, and being able to recognize that I made a lot of mistakes, but I learned. And I am also sorry to hear that you had suicidal thoughts, because that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot to carry.
In actual fact, I was in hospital for 2 weeks
Wow.
because of depression and anxiety. But I decided it was a good thing. I needed to do it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what was going on. So I needed the guidance. And thankfully, being in the hospital, a lot of people don't understand us about being institutionalized in a mental institution. It's not just about being surrounded by, like they say, crazy people. Everybody's there because something is not working. Something is not right. And we're all working through something to get a little bit of information on that we can take on board and then work on ourselves. So I think those are the kind of interactions I needed, group interactions. I needed knowledge from experts to help me guide me along. And I took all of those learnings and I then started working on myself, because when they come out of those institutions, they say it's like coming out of major surgery. You have to really, the post-surgery is the most important part. 6 weeks after you come out of that is the most important part of your life, because you can relapse, setbacks, and that's when, you kind of end up back there where I saw a lot of people, this wasn't their first visit. It was once or twice that they've been there. And I saw kids as well, like really young, I think as young as 8.
Wow.
7 or 8, yeah. It's very scary to see that level, to see at that young age people are struggling.
No.
And
Wow.
you think to yourself, I never want to be in this situation ever again. So you kind of have to do the work, the ugly work. And that's when you start to like figure yourself out. Hence why the calling, when I came to Canada, that's why I say I was meant to be here and start all of this, because that was my purpose in life, is to start sharing my stories, my own experiences, so that I can help others now start towards that, or swim towards that light.
Yeah. What a beautiful share. And as you said, like, to inspire others, like, I think that is that's such a beautiful purpose in life, because us that has been going through trauma and abuse and this and that, and just feeling that loneliness that you were talking about earlier, and to feel like, why is this happening to me? Like, why is it me? Like, I'm so alone. Like, I'm such, and just hearing others' stories, and there is a lot of people out there that will resonate and say, like, oh my gosh, like, so it is possible. It is possible. Like, change is possible. Like, positivity is possible. Like, better things are coming ahead, and just hold to that hope. Just hold to that, and the help. Search for help. Seek for the help, because even if you are a person that that you don't have the finances to pay a counselor,
Yes.
or
Yeah.
there are institutions, there are people, but as you said, like, one person who is just willing to listen with an open heart to whatever it is that you're carrying, and just to hold a little bit of that weight for you.
Yeah. Makes a world of a difference.
That can save a life.
Mm.
That can truly save a life. And that is that is something that I needed. I needed so badly when I was a young kid too, right? Like having a person that will simply sit down there and just listen to what I had to say,
Yeah.
and carry half of the weight that I was carrying on my shoulders,
Yeah.
right? So
How did you find the courage to start speaking about your abuse?
earlier you mentioned something that stood out for me, which is that not exactly your words, but I'm a huge believer that even if you try to run away from certain situation, eventually it's gonna come out of
Yes.
you one way or another. Whatever happens to us is like a ball of energy that is planted in you. Call it emotion, call it trauma, call it feelings,
Whatever.
whatever it is, right? It will find its way out. This energy will find its way out one way or another. A couple of years ago, I was feeling I always pointed my fingers at why I was being through abuse, and I pointed fingers at my parents, and I'm gonna say it openly because I always thought like this happened to me because you weren't there to watch me,
Mm.
right? And it got to a point, but they didn't know about this. They didn't know what happened to me because I never say it. I
Yes.
kept it for myself. So I think that my liberation moment came when I was comfortable enough, or not even comfortable enough, but that energy in me just couldn't keep it
Yeah.
anymore. And it just had to let go. And it was just like,
Yes.
and it just came that moment, Kishan, that moment for me was like the breaking point. Like, this is it. And from there, it was like, talking about it. This happened to me. It wasn't in my imagination. And this. And that was my liberation. It was
Okay.
in that moment that, and so I didn't have the courage, I guess, if that responds to your question.
Okay.
But the energy, it was time. I felt
Yeah.
like it was time to release that information and that energy, and to free myself.
Who did you share that with?
My parents,
Okay.
with
What
the
was?
war with the war. Actually, funny enough, I
Oh,
was
okay.
in a live video
Oh, wow.
on Facebook. Yes, I was on a live video. I
Wow.
was doing a lot of live videos, and I was reading a lot. I was, of course, I was reading through another book, and it just came out in the moment. And I said, like, you know what? This happened to me, and I think it's time for the world to know it.
Wow.
And this is it.
What was their reaction like?
My mom was pretty upset. And
Mm.
why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you do it? Why didn't you know this and that? But it's also like, now that I look back, like I think that the biggest reason why I didn't say it is because in my country, like if you are to accuse someone from this, like you better be
Yeah.
prepared,
Bad. Yeah.
And I was 5 years old. You know what I mean? Like a 5 year old to go through that and doctors and court and this, like it was just not worth it. To me, it was not worth it. And so I chose to keep it low, and to shut it down for myself and
Mm.
bury it somewhere and deal with it.
I'm sorry that you had to go through all of that, and I can only imagine, what that felt like, holding on to that for so long. You kind of lose part of your life because you're not living anymore because you're holding on to something that's so traumatic, and you can't really share it because societies say it's frowned upon to share those kind of experiences because what are people going to say? That's the worst thing. I hate that tone. Like, what are people going to say? I don't get me wrong. I too lived in those kind of environments for so long. It becomes your normal.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
Eh,
uh, but you know what? I think that in a way, like it never stopped me from being myself. It never stopped me from. I just, I guess I went into the other side. I just buried it and I blocked the memory. And today, through therapy, I understand that that was my way to protect myself,
yeah.
or my nervous system to protect me. And I bury the memory. Like I have parts and pieces, but I just block whatever the main part, I guess. And it never stopped me. That situation never stopped me from showing up in the best way. Like that
Mm.
never stopped me from being authentic. And I find it interesting how you said like what would people say. And it's funny because I grew up in a really small town and everybody was like, this girl is crazy. Like
Yeah.
this girl is gonna end like badly when I was growing up, right? And I never gave one little dime about others people opinion, never for once, because I grew up listening to my mother, which is her birthday today, by the way. God
Oh, happy
bless her.
birthday.
Thank you. Um, and she used to tell me every time when I said like, but what are they gonna say? But my mom will stop me and say, "Do they feed you? Do they feed you? Because last time I checked, it was
Hi.
me who fed you." And I was like, you
Oh,
know
sorry.
what? And I said, you know what? Yeah, you're totally right, right? And believe it or not, everything that we listen as kids, everything that we grow up listening, you might feel like, oh my gosh, yeah. You might not even take it in consideration, but that has a huge impact in
Impact.
someone's life.
Yeah.
Big time. And I think that at the time I was like, oh mom, like, but today I'm thankful for that because I have never cared about what others has to say about me. Because imagine if we pay attention to
Yeah,
everything
exactly.
and everybody wants to say about us. Like,
Yeah.
no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty, like I'm grateful. I'm grateful through the experiences, through the bad times, through the hard times, through the dark times. I'm thankful because it is because of that I am here open and ready to share the light.
Right.
And whatever situation happened and in whatever anything that life threw at me as a kid, I have everything and more of what I ever dreamed for. With my family, my children, they're happy, they're healthy, thank God. My fiance, he's everything that I ever dream of. Everything, all those nights where I told you I came from a broken family
Mm.
as well, and every single night that I cried and that I prayed and that I asked like, why this happened to me? And I'm gonna get emotional.
It's okay. It's okay.
But they're my answers, you know? They're the answers. And I came to the realization that if I had to go through every single day of my life I went through to be what I am today with the beautiful family that God has blessed me with,
Mm.
I would do it over and over and over again. I promise you that. And so I think that that's why I want the world to know in a way, that if there is somebody out there that is just like me asking like, why is this happening to me? Why is life being so hard? What is just one thing or another and
Mm.
piling and you feel like you just want to keep afloat. And if you just hold to your faith, to whatever it is that it matters to you, to your life, and the idea that you're worthy of love, because we're all worthy. We were born
Mm.
worthy, and that better things are yet to come. And I just hope that somebody needs to hear something like this and that somebody can relate to this and know that there is hope and even if it's in the darkest time of your life
Mm.
that you're going through, something good is coming. Just don't give up. Just don't give up. Just
Yeah.
one more day. Don't give up. So
I think I needed to hear that because as well. So thank you. You get to some moments in your life where you don't have that energy, and but you realize your purpose is much greater than that. And I had actually had a discussion today with one of my close friends who went, him and his wife went through a traumatic experience of losing a child. And I just, we check up on them now and then just to make sure they're okay. Even though they're in South Africa, we know that that kind of connection and just makes a huge difference to somebody's life. And I just called him today and we're checking up just to make sure that he's able to still function day-to-day life. And he's still mourning, he's still going through therapy, all of those things. But he said something very interesting to me today. He said, yes, we can focus, we have two choices. We can either focus on the traumatic event that happened, or we can also choose to look at the stuff that we have right now that's working for us. We can be grateful that we have a home, we have jobs, we have a plate of food, all the positive stuff that, can come out of life. And that switched my mindset today when I always thought about all the stuff that went against me. Doesn't matter. There's so much that's going for me right now, and I should be grateful and humble for those opportunities in life. And so, when you shared what you're saying right now, it really resonated because I felt that in your sharing your vulnerability, which is not easy. So thank you for that as well. And I hope somebody listening to this can maybe resonate with you on that level and know that there's a light at the end of that struggle. We just have to be grateful and humble for the opportunities that we do have. Not saying you have to stop mourning, you have to stop all that. No, it's just you kind of give more of your attention to the positive stuff that's happening right now. And then the despair level starts to decrease. You accept it. It'll never be forgotten. You'll never forget it. That's what we always say. You'll never forget that experience. But it's you just learn to manage it in a much more healthier way, in a positive way.
Absolutely. Well said. Yeah. And I am so sorry about the loss of your friends. I have always said I'm thankful enough that it never happened to me, but to come back from a trauma like this, I have no even the remote idea of. I always said like I think I will go completely insane, and so I really hope that they can find the peace and the light that their hearts needs in this moment. And as you said, like it is so hard too, right? As we were saying earlier, like in a situation like this, you can question so many things.
Everything.
You can question your faith, you can question God, you can question like your entire being. And like, what did I do to deserve this? Like, or a child, for the love of God,
Exactly,
but I always said, like, I really, really, in those hard moments, I know I am a very spiritual person and I just believe, and funny, I was able to explore 5 different religions. So I'm not just like, I wasn't told you be this.
Yes,
so
yes.
I consider myself a spiritual and let's leave it there. But there is something that I've learned from all the religions that I had the opportunity to explore, and is that there is a creator. And even though sometimes it is hard in a situation like it to keep those believings and that faith up, just give the creator, your worries and your issue and your trauma and your everything, your problems,
Let the
like
universe help you.
Exactly, and the help is there. And there is a purpose.
Same. I truly believe the universe always provides when you need it the most. You won't really know when, it just happens.
Yes, exactly. And it's I think that the one of the most amazing things in life, or at least in my personal experience, was that moment where I say earlier, like when I found the answers of those whys from years ago, and then like, oh my gosh, so this is why. This is why I had to go through hell and back. This is why. And when you see that, it's such an incredible moment. It's such a fulfilling moment. And you never look back. And don't get me wrong, Life is about
Yes.
you
Constantly
never know.
yeah.
Yeah, right. Like but and it can change tomorrow. You check on me tomorrow, and it might be a different story. But after what I went through, and to be able to see the light after the tunnel, I have made a promise to myself that no matter what kind of curve or turn my life takes, I will keep holding to my faith the tighter I can, as tight as I can, because I know there will be a light of the tunnel. Now it might take me a year, it might take me 10, it might take to recover from the heat. You never know, because as you said earlier, it doesn't have a
Time frame,
timeline,
yeah.
like healing a time frame, right? But there is a purpose, there is a reason, and I am here to find it. I want to know it, because it's just the preparation sometimes to something greater, to something bigger. So
Yeah,
bring it.
for sure. It's the curiosity, right?
But
It's the curiosity.
exactly, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
To
don't know
know.
if you. Sorry, I interrupted you, but I don't know if you see a video I posted about there is um life sometimes can feel as a school, as a hospital, as a mountain, or as a movie.
Yes.
Do you hear about
Yeah.
that? I have such appreciation for that, because it's so true. It is so true. And just ask yourself, like, what of those categories is life for you right now? Is it
Yeah.
a school is trying to teach you something? Is it a hospital you need to stop and heal for something? It is a mountain, like you climbing out of curiosity to see what is in the top, or is it a movie that you don't even know what's coming next?
Mm.
Right? But you prepare, like you're like, okay, what's going? But what is it that is happening for you right now that that your life is has to tell you? What is life trying to teach you in this moment?
That's
I think
awesome.
that's
I like
yeah,
that. That's
yeah,
amazing. That's why the way you share your story on TikTok, and it's just it's just so empowering. It's just positive, and it's so much like when you're having a bad day. It's like music. Even when you're listening to music or your favorite song, it doesn't matter what mood you're in. If you're in a happy mood, you'll continue to be in a happy mood. If you're a little bit low, music will bring you up. It's like that. Your messages on TikTok, and they really do that. They like bring you into a little bit of a Zen space. Hence the name Zen. And now,
yes, yeah. I love that. I love it. Stay zen. I
yeah,
love that. I posted up one of your videos too, because just to let you know, like, I hear you, I
yeah,
see you,
yes,
and I love that. Yeah, good for
yeah,
you.
yeah. Now that's what it's all about. Like you said, when we find your tribe, you find your people. It brings warmth to yourself, knowing that there are people just like you trying to make a difference. And the more people we have, the better for society.
Yes, yes. And I am a life coach, and I'm a future counselor, knocking wood. But it is, I don't know if I told you the other
Mhm.
day, like how I had my call years ago, and I realized I'm not gonna make a life of it, but realistically, it's not for me. It's not making a life out of it. To me, it's helping others. To me, it's being the help for others. To me, it's encouraging, inspiring, motivating, letting the people know, like, hey, I got you. I don't
Mm,
care what you're going through. Like, you have somebody. You're not alone, and I want to be that for whoever it is that needs it. So
yeah. Now that you've been in Canada for almost quarter of a century, do you still find challenges?
yes, I'm currently, like I'm currently a stay-home mom. Um, the economy is critical. Like
Mm,
it is
challenging right now.
overwhelming. It's
Yeah.
overwhelming. The prices of food, like trying to be healthy, trying like that's a challenge every single day. Uh, but once again, we do what we can. We are trying to do the best we can, and that is good enough. Challenges are going to be in Canada, in Spain, in Mexico, in Puerto
Wherever.
Rico, everywhere. Everywhere. The challenges are there, because that's what life is about, right? But the key is, how do we respond? to whatever challenge comes our way. That's the story we want to talk about.
For
How are
sure.
we responding to those challenging
Yeah,
challenges?
you can either charge it like a bull, or you can, go like a turtle or tortoise and go inside and hide
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for protection.
I'm a point in my life that you bet I'm gonna ride that bull, buddy.
Like a matador.
Yeah, he's gonna go to the
Yes.
like the with the red flag.
Exactly. El matador. Sí. Ole.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab that bull by the horn.
No, that's amazing. And what is a non-negotiable routine for you now in your daily life?
My walk.
Eh.
My walk has changed my life. I came from being in bed until 10 a.m. and I realized for a year and a half after having my last baby, and I came to realize that I was trying to avoid all the stress, all the commotion that comes with kids and this and that, and the overwhelming, the exhaustion, and everything else. And then I came across Mel Robbins, and she shares a morning routine, and one of the things, make my bed first thing in the morning. Make your bed first thing in the morning. No matter what kind of day you have, when you come back and you like, that is going to be a
Yeah.
sanctuary. Like, make your bed no matter what. And I wasn't doing it. So this is important. Get off bed. I bless myself. I'm thankful. I give thanks for another day. So I bless myself. And I go get my teeth brush in the mirror, and then I go and drop my oldest daughter to the school bus, and I go for a walk every single morning. And it's when I find my inspiration to share on TikTok. That's
Yes.
my walk and talk. And then I come back home and I read this book, and it's only I read a verse from the Bible every single day. And this 5-minute book, reading that is always, it was a cancer survivor. It is a cancer survivor who wrote that, Mark Nepal.
Mhm.
And it's like 3 minute story, reading, and it's always something in there. It's always something in there that somebody needs to hear. And I always look forward to that. And
Yeah.
it's a 365-day book.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's
So
every single
someday.
day.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
And that's it. And then a black coffee. That's my morning routine that I need to do, and I don't care if it's raining. I'm already thinking like, okay, how am I gonna get the walk done today?
Oh,
And so
it's Canada. We have the apparel to help us, right? We have the
yeah,
jackets, we have the boots. Everything is there to go out. If it's snowing, it's pleasant, you can go out.
yeah, you got no excuse in Canada. You got
No.
the gear. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, it's important. And do you feel bad if you don't accomplish something from your routine? Or do you feel like something is missing? Okay, good.
I do feel, I do feel like something is missing, I
Okay.
must say, but I don't feel bad about it. I'm
Okay.
actually learning to give myself the permission to.
Yes.
Like, let's say this morning, I made a commitment couple weeks ago to say, like, okay, instead of getting up at 7, I'm gonna start like at 6. And but I was being too hard on myself. It was just not realistic. My body also needs the rest. So I think that it works for me at 7 a.m. So then I'm now back to, okay, let's have a little bit more of compassion. You're still getting up in a good time. You're still getting accomplished, but don't be too hard on yourself. Have some flexibility. You need to rest too, because I need to spend some time with my partner before going to bed as well. So, and that is only from 10 to midnight. So either you sacrifice that time or you go to bed and
Yes.
wake up fresh as the letters, right?
Mhm.
But I find like having the flexibility and know that, okay, if you weren't able to go for that walk today, first thing in the morning, and I feel I'm missing that because it has an impact in my mood, then okay, in the afternoon, let's squeeze in like a
Something, yeah.
50, 30 minutes. Yes, exactly. Or exercise, or just even out in nature, even just out in nature for 10 minutes. That is healing. That is something better than nothing. That is something. And just, once again, just having that flexibility that it is okay if one day you miss it. And it is also okay to learn and to be aware of like, okay, what's the difference between when I do it and when I don't do it, and what
Yes.
is bringing to my body, or what am I feeling, or what am I thinking, or what is different there. And so that when you start connecting and being more aware to that kind of little thing, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it all comes
At
down
least,
to mindfulness.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Such an underrated activity, walking and being in nature. We think it's boring because you're just nature. Like, okay, coming from South Africa, public personal safety was an issue
Oh,
because of the
okay.
violence, because you have to always be looking over your shoulder. So, you when you come to countries like Canada, you appreciate it.
Yes,
And I don't think
yes.
who don't grow up in those environments, I don't think they understand what it means when you say, you know what, personal safety is such an important thing for us, and we're so grateful that we are able to have some form of it.
Oh my goodness. I am so, so thankful that you touch on that point, because I am from Mexico, and violence in Mexico
Mm.
is like top notch.
Yes.
And I remember earlier, you remember what was your impression when you came to Canada? And one of the things, and my ex-husband actually kind of made fun of me, because we were in a house and I was like, where is the protection?
Yeah,
Like in the
where's
windows.
the you're saying where's the burglar guards? Where's the why?
Yeah, like,
Yeah, why's the door locks?
yes, like people is just gonna walk in that window and rob me or steal me or kidnap me. And they were like, hello, like that doesn't happen here in Canada. And that's sad. Like that's sad. And even these days that I go back home, and where my kids are Canadian, their skin is
Yeah,
lighter. So they stand up from the rest,
for
and I
sure.
can't sleep. I can't sleep. Like I feel like somebody's gonna come think I'm rich because I'm in Canada.
Mm.
I'm rich because that is something else that people think, because you're in another country. All of a sudden, you become a millionaire, and you just
Yeah, yeah.
that's so
No,
wrong,
wrong.
people.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
so you know, that's so wrong.
Yeah, that doesn't
Uh,
happen. That's not how it works. No.
no, right? Are you making dollars? No, I'm
No.
not making dollars whatsoever, by the way. But and I think that I can't say enough how grateful I am of being on a country that allows me to go to bed and have a good rest
Mhm.
without thinking somebody's gonna come in and steal my kids or kidnap them or hurt me or my
Something.
family. Yeah, like that. That's scary. That's scary. And to live like that is not living.
No.
It's not living. It's
Yeah,
very sad. Mhm.
100%. Reflection. You look back and, but like you said, going back to that point of I wouldn't change anything in my past because I had to go through that. That was my soul's journey to get to where I am right now. Because if you take all those away, it doesn't lead to a colorful life.
Yeah,
All the good
yeah,
parts it forms part of that page where you're trying to color. So what if it happens if you color outside the lines at times? It happens. It's normal.
yeah.
We try to fit this perfection box where we're trying to get everything right all the time. Hence why we have epidemics and anxieties, depressional episodes. People are struggling with mental health disorders and struggling with trying to find their feet in the world, where we just sometimes need to keep it simple.
Yeah, yeah.
Think we are my coaches back in South Africa when we were doing a drill. I used to play cricket a lot. Uh, they used to tell us just to keep like a certain movement or something. Keep it simple. So it's like they call it KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it what?
Keep it
Keep it
simple. Keep it simple, stupid.
keep it keep it simple,
St-
simple is stupid.
yeah, like don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah. Yes.
Just keep it simple. Keep it basic, and then everything else will come after that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, just keep it basic. Absolutely. It's why I don't even wear makeup, but today I did because I say it's a special occasion,
Yeah.
right?
Thank you.
But like
Thank you.
like yes. But like it is true. Like I'm a firm believer of like why to go looking for so many unnecessary
Yeah.
dilemma issues, overthinking, and like when like life is simple. Life is simple. All you gotta do is breathe.
Breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. That's what we
Just
say. Just
breathe.
breathe.
Yes, just breathe. Literally, like that. Life is simple. All you gotta do is breathe. That's all you gotta do.
And what we see on social media right now, it's hence why there's so much of that kind of people having anxiety, because they feel like they're not looking a certain way, or they're not wealthy in a certain way. But some of it is not real. We don't know if that's real or not. So you have to also be very mindful of, what you consume
Yeah.
in a healthy way. Same like life. You just got to be very just aware of what's good for you and what's not. But you get to a certain point in life where you realize that very early on, you're still figuring things out. It's very difficult. But I heard something early today where on another Instagram reel, it said our parents' mistakes is our responsibility to fix now. Meaning we have the responsibility, we have the chance to fix those problems or those issues now.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you either fix it or the cycle continues.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even like I have something similar to that too that I learned in my class. We put it as a rule, as an agreement, that when there is an issue in your life, you wanna catch it, or you wanna express it, or you wanna talk it out when it is the size of Nemo.
Yes.
Because what happens if you don't, then
Not
it
Bruce.
grows. Yes, and it grows Bruce, exactly, the shark. So just express it, and always truthful to who you are, to your authenticity, to your core values, to yourself, right? Like, um, it is such a it's easy, like it is just easy, like communication is key, and something that I have learned through being in the therapeutic realm, because I do have sessions already and practice sessions and stuff. um Everybody got something, Kishan.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody got something, some kind of bruise in their
Yeah.
life that they weren't able to catch when it was Nemo, right? So, um, it's just part of life. It is just part of life. And how do we navigate that and all the anxiety? I think that a lot of the anxiety that happens to a lot of people is once again that energy that is coming and releasing one way or another
Yeah.
from being stuck for so many years and so much pain, so much that is going on, right? So
Yeah,
in a person's life. So
for sure.
yeah.
And finally, what message would you have if you could go back? What's the one thing you could tell young Sofia?
It's funny you asked that because that's exactly where one of my TikToks were today. Today, if I literally looked at 17-year-old Sofia, and I'm gonna close this with a phrase that means a lot to me, that I read in a very meaningful book to me, which is that rejection is God's protection.
Rejection is God's protection. Okay.
Rejection is God's protection. Yes. And what this means is that if you don't get the job, if you don't get a person that you think that is your person, if you don't get to hang out with this person, if you don't get to your job on time, if you don't get to a certain place on time, if whatever thing that you desire that doesn't go your way, is a way of protection. So no matter what is going on in your life, what I was sharing earlier, I looked today, exactly today, at young Sofia, 17-year-old Sofia, and I told her with all my love and compassion, hold on in there. Just hold on in there. Because I promise you, you got to go through this in order to grow, in order to bloom, in order to learn, and to become the person that you're meant to be.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for all the rejections Kishan, all the rejections that I had in my life, I am thankful for them because it is because of that that I have become the person that I am today, and because of that that I am with the person that I meant to be today.
Yes.
And I'm at peace.
That's an amazing point to leave it. I think you've given me my closing thoughts already. So thank you. Yeah, it's amazing, guys, that, our current self, we've always been there with our younger self, just holding their hand, guiding them, even if it's through the dark times, to get to this point where you are right now in your life. So hold on, hang tight, it's all going to be okay. And thank you, Sofia, for everything that you shared with us today. Truly inspirational. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope this resonates with somebody. Remember, guys, to hit the like button, share this with somebody that you know, and leave your comments. It will just help the channel grow. So until the next one, thank you, Sofia, and thank you, everybody, for listening. Love you guys. Stay zen. Thank you.
Thank you, Kishan. It has been an honor.
You're welcome.
Thank you.